How does God speak through your mind? This is not a question to be answered lightly, nor is it a matter of mere theological speculation. It is a profound inquiry into the very nature of consciousness, the architecture of the divine, and the mechanisms by which the infinite communicates with the finite. To understand this, you must first confront the paradox of your existence. You are both a fragment of the divine and a separate self, a spark of the eternal flame encased in the temporal vessel of flesh and bone. And it is within this paradox that the voice of God resonates, not as a thunderous proclamation from the heavens, but as a subtle whisper in the labyrinth of your mind. Let us begin with the premise that your mind is not an isolated entity. It is not a closed system, a self-contained machine grinding away in the void. No, your mind is a microcosm of the macrocosm, a fractal reflection of the universal mind. It is a receiver and a transmitter, a conduit through which the divine intelligence flows. But here's the critical distinction. God does not speak to you in words. God speaks to you in symbols, in intuitions, in synchronicities that defy rational explanation. To hear this voice, you must learn the language of the soul. The first step in this process is to recognize that your mind operates on multiple levels. At the surface, there is the conscious mind, the part of you that thinks, plans, and analyzes. This is the realm of logic, of reason, of the ego. But beneath this lies the unconscious mind, a vast and mysterious landscape where the seeds of divine communication are sown. The unconscious is not a void. It is a plenum, a reservoir of archetypal patterns, collective wisdom, and transcendent truths. It is here, in the depths of your psyche, that God's voice is most clearly heard. But how does this communication manifest? It begins with intuition. Intuition is not a vague feeling or a random guess. It is the language of the unconscious, the means by which the divine imparts wisdom to the conscious mind. When you experience a sudden insight, a flash of clarity, or an inexplicable knowing, you are receiving a message from the deeper layers of your being. This is God speaking through you, not as an external authority, but as the essence of who you are. To cultivate this connection, you must learn to quiet the noise of the conscious mind. The ego is a useful tool, but it is also a barrier. It filters reality through the lens of its own desires, fears, and biases. To hear the voice of God, you must transcend the ego. You must enter a state of receptivity, a state of inner silence where the chatter of the mind subsides and the whispers of the soul can be heard. This is the purpose of meditation, of prayer, of contemplative practices that draw you inward. But intuition is only the beginning. God also speaks through your dreams. Dreams are not random neural firings. They are symbolic narratives crafted by the unconscious mind. They are the language of the soul, a means by which the divine communicates truths that the conscious mind cannot yet comprehend. To understand your dreams is to decode the messages of God. Pay attention to recurring symbols, to vivid imagery, to the emotions that linger upon waking. These are the breadcrumbs leading you toward greater self-awareness and spiritual awakening. And then, there are synchronicities, those seemingly coincidental events that carry a deeper meaning. Synchronicities are not accidents. They are the fingerprints of the divine, the subtle orchestration of the universe to guide you on your path. When you encounter a synchronicity, it is a sign that you are in alignment with the greater intelligence of existence. It is God's way of saying, you are on the right track. Keep going. But here's the challenge. To hear the voice of God, you must be willing to listen. You must be willing to set aside your preconceptions, your doubts, and your need for control. You must approach the divine with humility, with curiosity, and with an open heart. This is not a passive process. It requires active engagement, a willingness to question, to explore, and to integrate the messages you receive. And what are these messages? They are not commandments or decrees. They are invitations. Invitations to grow, to evolve, to step into the fullness of your potential. God speaks to you not to dictate your path, but to illuminate it. The choices are still yours to make, the actions still yours to take. But with each message, you are given a glimpse of the greater pattern, the grand design in which you play a part. Now, let us consider the implications of this. If God speaks through your mind, then your mind is sacred. It is not a mere tool for survival. It is a vessel for divine communication. To honor this is to treat your mind with reverence. Feed it with wisdom, not with trivialities. Challenge it with questions, not with distractions. And above all, listen to it, not just the surface thoughts, but the deeper currents that flow beneath. But here's the ultimate truth. The voice of God is not separate from you. It is not an external entity speaking to you from afar. It is the voice of your higher self, the part of you that is already aligned with the divine. To hear this voice is to remember who you truly are, not a separate self, but a manifestation of the infinite. And in that remembrance, you find not only guidance, but liberation. So, I ask you, are you ready to listen? Are you ready to quiet the noise of the world and tune into the frequency of the divine? Are you ready to decode the symbols, to follow the synchronicities, to embrace the whispers of your soul? The voice of God is speaking to you here and now. The question is, will you hear it?